In my time in Montana, I was very fortunate that an opportunity fell in my lap. There was not, when I got there, yet a young adults ministry. And so we just happened to have some families who offered to open up their homes to us. And so I took that opportunity to start a 20s and 30s program for the church. We met every month and we got a good group of a core following for our 20s and 30s. But as the spring approached, I realized that my time there in Montana was growing short. And we needed somebody to take my place leading this group, or else it would die. It would not be there anymore. And I felt, at least, that there was still a very strong need for that ministry, a strong need for that 20s and 30s group to continue. So, by the suggestion of my mentor Heidi, I prayed. I prayed hard. I prayed that there would be someone to take over. And fortunately, my prayers were answered quickly. I must have prayed very, very hard. And someone, we'll call her Sarah, came up and said, yeah, I think I'm being called to take over this program. One of the things that I thought would be the best for this program, for our 20s and 30s group, was if Sarah went ahead and took over the program while I was still there. And so we sat down and she shot out several ideas that she had for what we could be doing in the future. And a lot of these ideas were different from what we'd done before, and I have to admit that I was very skeptical of these ideas, to the point that I almost said something about that. But I realized if I was going to hand the reins over to Sarah, I really needed to hand the reins over to Sarah. I needed to let her lead, and I needed to take the back seat. Which, looking back on it, was exactly the right thing to do. Because her ideas ended up being spot on. They were exactly what we needed, not only to help the group continue, but to help the group go into the next phase of its ministry, and in fact, even to grow. So I'm very glad that I let her do those ideas unhindered by previous leadership, because it was the best thing for the group. It was the best thing for everybody. Our roles as leaders is often to know when to step aside. It's really to have prepared those who follow us to be incredible leaders, to build on the work that we've already done, to improve it and even to make it better. Really what we're called to do as leaders is to follow the example of John the Baptist. In both this week and last week, we've seen John the Baptist's role, not as the primary leader, not as somebody who's out to do ministry for himself. Certainly somebody who's not out there for his own glory, but somebody who is there for another's glory. Somebody who is there to prepare the way for what's coming next. We're called in this time of Advent to strengthen and prepare ourselves, as we heard in our reading from James this morning. More importantly, we're called to be like John the Baptist, and my hope is that that's what we can do, is to not only strengthen our own hearts, but to strengthen the hearts of those who follow us. Because John the Baptist wasn't what we all came for. John the Baptist himself knew this. He got people ready, not for him, but for who was going to follow, for Jesus. And when Jesus did come, John the Baptist even sent out his own followers to make sure, to see, do I need to keep doing the work that I'm doing? Or is this the time for me to step back and to let you shine? John the Baptist last week said that the one following after him is more powerful than he is. And that's often, whether we want to admit it or not, the case for us. As we continue in this church, as we continue as Christians, we recognize that those who follow after us will be more powerful. They'll be better. That's our hope, is that we'll continue to improve. Certainly the hope is that those who follow us can take the ministry, the work that we have done, and can build on that work to make it better and to make it stronger. We also hear a lot today about not having fear. We hear that in Isaiah. We hear that in the Song of Mary. The way that we don't have fear, the way that we don't fear that the church is dying, that this great experiment of the church, this great tool, this great force of God in the world does not come to an end. The way that we ensure that, the way that we don't have fear, is to continue to build up those who come after us. To let those who come after us have that leadership role. To prepare them and then to step aside so that they can soar. And when we do that, we won't have fear either. Because we'll know that the church is in good hands. That we'll know that God's service in this world will continue with the next generation. Not only because we have faith in God and faith in them, but because we can see their leadership, see their strength with our own eyes. My hope for you all is that as leaders of the church, you become a little bit more like John the Baptist. John the Baptist isn't out for his own glory. John the Baptist knows his ministry will one day come to an end. And a John the Baptist does what he can, not only to prepare our hearts and minds to let Jesus Christ into our lives, but John the Baptist also prepares the way for those who are to follow. In this time of Advent, in this time of preparation, how are you helping to prepare our next generation of Christian leaders? And how are you helping them be leaders in their ministry? And when those leaders come, and when they are fully formed to do the work that God has given them to do, are you willing to step aside and let them soar in their own leadership and in their own ministry?